thank you so much for allowing me to come in and be a part of your experience with Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. I'm Cantor Larry Eschler. I'm the cantor at Temple Beth and Me. For those of you who don't know what a cantor is the music minister at the synagogue at our place of worship. So I've had a lot of experience in theater growing up, and Joseph was actually my first show that I saw and fell in love with theater. So I'm kind of here to give you a little bit about what happens in what we call the Torah, or you might call it the Old Testament. So what happens in the storyline, a little bit about maybe some misconceptions, and then also how we take those messages into our own lives and make it relevant. So let's get started. So Joseph, we find out in the Torah that he was 17 when he gets his coat of many colors. Now, the coat of many colors, many people thought that was a gift that was shown out of love, that he was loved more, and he got that as being the favorite. Now, it does say he was the favorite, but one of the things that a coat of many colors represented in that day was it showed your leadership. And so basically what happened was his father, Jacob, pretty much said that Joseph would be the leader of the entire tribe. So he elevated Joseph over his other brothers who were a little bit older. Now, that right there could be a problem. But technically, he was the firstborn of his mom, Rachel. Here's a list of which child belonged to whom. Joseph is the eldest child to Rachel, so being designated as the leader of the tribe makes some sense. Now, although Joseph is Jacob's 11th child, there could be as little as 5.5 to 6 years between Reuben and Joseph, making them closer in age. So, why do we think that Joseph was elevated over Reuben? Well, as we get to know the personalities of each of the characters, we find that Reuben does a lot of talking, but doesn't do a lot of action. He has ideas, but he doesn't necessarily put them forward. So, for instance, he was the one who said, let's put Joseph in the pit, and then he thought, oh, later I'll go back and get him. Okay, that was a pretty good thought. Now, Simeon, the next in line, he was the hothead. He was the one who said, let's kill him. Let's just get rid of him right now. So he was full of emotion. He would act, and then he would think later. But Reuben, being the smarter one, did say, let's change this around. Let's put him in the pit instead. So he was able to convince his little brother. Now, Levi would be the next in line, but we really don't hear anything about Levi in the story. Later we find out that Levi's tribe is divided up as the priesthood, and that they are disseminated throughout all the tribes. And so it's interesting that here we don't hear of him at all. The fourth in line is Judah, and he later becomes the actual leader of the family. Matter of fact, since Reuben is no longer really trusted by Joseph or by Jacob later, it's Judah who has to go and negotiate with Joseph for the grain, as we know later in the story, and he's the one who brings back the little brother Benjamin and pledges his own life for him. So it's Judah who really knows how to act in this political circle. So he becomes the leader of the family because he knows how to think before he acts. But he's very he's very wise. Now he, instead of saying let's kill him or let's just leave him in the pit, says, why don't we sell him to the Ishmaelites? Well, the Ishmaelites, they saw in the far, far distance. And in the far, far distance, you could say, oh, it might take days before they get here, at least 8, 10, 12 hours. And so they thought, we have plenty of time. And the brothers all went and have something to eat. So while they ate, some Ishmaelites actually came by, and they must have heard Joseph in the pit, because it says that the Ishmaelites were the ones who actually took Joseph out of the pit. They sold him to the Midianites, who then sold him to Potiphar. So it wasn't the brothers who actually sold him. So when the brothers came back, the pit was empty. So, So all good plans by Reuben to come back and get him didn't happen. And for Judah to sell him, that didn't really happen either. So So thinking about how this might apply back to your life, think about the different characters. So these are the archetypes of these peoples in your life. Reuben, who talks a lot but does little action. He contemplates his navel a lot. He thinks about, oh, this would be great. He finds that there's an audition for a show he wants to be in, and he thinks, oh, that's great, and that's on Sunday, and well, maybe if I'm feeling good, I'll go do it. But he never really follows through. Simeon, the hothead, he goes, I'm going to just go because I'm great. I'm going to go to that audition and I'm just going to be there. I'm just going to do it. And whatever I give, whatever comes out of my mouth is the best thing. But not necessarily, he doesn't really prepare. And he may not have all the talent to actually get behind what he actually says. Judah knows how to act. He knows how to prepare. He knows how to go in. He knows that if he's right for the part, he's right for the part, right? But later he may start to doubt himself, because he's good in the political arena. He knows how to go through all the paperwork, but sometimes he lacks his own confidence. And the confidence, that's where it comes with Joseph. Because Joseph always, through all of everything that happened to him, kept the confidence. Now, that confidence was his belief in God and his belief to this connection. Now, he had this ability to interpret dreams, and so in interpreting dreams, that connected him to a higher power. And he called that God, and so he had this faith all the time. Now, he also had the goods to go with it, because we see it from story after story that he rises to the top each time. So let's talk about that. He's sold to Potiphar, and Potiphar is the captain of the guard. Now, Potiphar puts him to the test, and Joseph rises to the top, and to the point where Potiphar puts everything he has in Joseph's hands. So Joseph winds up running all of his household, everything that Potiphar's wealth buys. And it says that God made Potiphar's house very wealthy because of this. But then here comes the problem. So it just happens to be that Joseph was good looking. Yeah, good looking. So, and that can be a problem sometimes. When you're too good looking, people want to be around you just because you are good looking. Or if you're too talented, they want to be around you for just being talented. And if you're not grounded, that could be a problem. So what happens at the very beginning? Well, Potiphar's wife decides that she wants Joseph. Joseph knows that's not right, and he runs away. So he knows that sometimes the best way to get away from a bad situation is just to remove yourself from that bad situation. But Potiphar's wife didn't like being slighted, and so she accused him of the action that got him in trouble. And because she was more powerful, Potiphar had to throw Joseph into the jail. Now, in that time, if Potiphar really thought Joseph did something wrong, he would have been killed. He wouldn't have been thrown into jail. So Potiphar knew that something else was probably up, because he put him there, but he didn't put him into a dark, dank, bread and water kind of cell. He put him into his jail, but he put him in a place of management still. And so even there, he was able to rise to the top. In a bad situation, he was still able to rise to that top. So sometimes even when you do a good thing, you can still get in trouble. And you have to be confident in your own abilities and your own stuff to know that's good. And what really helps is if you've built yourself a good reputation. Because by having that good reputation, people have to think that this is out of character for you, and give you that possibility that you didn't do it. And so building a good reputation is really important as you continue through anything you do in life. The other part too, having confidence in yourself, confidence in your skills and your ability, and of course having good faith. So in this case, that he was confident that God was with him, gave him the courage and the wherewithal to be in jail and still make that the best situation. So keep those things in mind. Now in jail, like I said, he rises to the top, because when you're good, right? And that's when he's put in charge of the baker and the butler who comes in, right? Now the baker and butler, you know the whole story of the dreams and the interpretations. right? And one of the things that Joseph asks the butler is, could you please make sure that when you get reinstated, that you let, people know that I'm here and ask for me to be brought out of the jails. Well, the butler gets back into his place, and of course he forgets. It says actually there's almost 2 years between when the butler and the dreams that Pharaoh has happen. And so here's another takeaway. Even when you've done something right and you've done good, doesn't mean that you're immediately rewarded. So it took 2 years, but Joseph's talent and Joseph's goodwill planted seeds in the butler that when the opportunity came around, when Joseph had his dream, the butler remembered Joseph and then was able to raise him up out of the jail and put him in front of Pharaoh. So keeping good faith, planting good seeds, having a good reputation, all these things will help you become more and more successful as you continue on through your journey. That's what the story of Joseph is all about. It's all about these different archetypes. I mean, it's a great, fun story, and it has survived the test of time because it is a story that has these universal themes that we find in every generation. And with that knowledge, with all this information as you go forward into the show, just enjoy the show, have a great time, and know that the story you're telling is an important story to all who hear it. Thanks for letting me be with you. Have a great show. I'll see you later.